Here we are. So, we have spoken for these 6 months about usability. Building a usable website means to do something, we spoke a lot about doing things easy to use, easy to learn, difficult to forget, and so on, difficult to make errors. But if we want to make a good design, we should go a little further. Emotional design is that part of design that elicits emotion and makes the experience of the user memorable and meaningful. So it's much, much more than usability. If you think about your own experience, when you get in a website, sometimes you find it very difficult. Sometimes you find it easy to use. For instance, an airline can be difficult or easy to book a flight. Sometimes you find something pleasurable. You like it. You feel well. That's the end of the game should be to make people feel well in front of our website. Emotionally attractive design makes people feel good. I must admit, people feel good in front of your website and using your website. Of course, in the website, there is a content. That is what the website offers, what the website does. If you go to an airline website, you should be able to find a plane and to buy and to check if you bought the right plane. But presentation makes things even more easy to understand, easy to use. So presentation is important for the way your brain will use the information. What is this? Do you know this dish? This is spaghetti, this is cacio e pepe. Cacio e pepe is a fantastic type of spaghetti, very difficult to do. And this is something that we must learn about. Cacio e pepe is very simple. It's just spaghetti, oil, grated cheese, and pepper. It's very, 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 very simple. So it becomes very difficult to do it very well. Because doing simple things well is more difficult than doing complex. In complex things, you can mix up or do stupid things. You know, this one is the one I could find in house. This one is a chef. The only difference is presentation, but this one is more pleasurable. You like when you get good presentation. There are masters in this idea of good presentation or good food design that are Japanese. If you like sushi, when you see a piece of sushi, it's simply a piece of fish with some rice, but can be really done in a beautiful way. So don't forget the presentation is important. Going back in the history, these were the first portable television, and they work it. Take the television around it. You know what is this? 98 is the first MP3 music player. 98, so it's not, it's old. You know where MP3 as a format of music file was born? Do you have an idea? No? Was not born in California, was not born in Japan, was born in Italy. MP3 was invented in Torino in a group of researchers. What we can say about these kind of things? That they do what they suggest they do. You get the music, you see the television, but there is no appeal. It's not an object you will like to have in your house. You like to have because you want to see the television, but not because of the object. Then designers have done great things. This, I think you know this Alcohol 11. This is the Brion Vega television. It's fantastic. And this was another MP3, is iPod. You know, there is a big difference between the design and this one. They are exactly the same. What you do, you put the earphone and you hear music, but they are different. This is the evolution. The first one. The first one is commercial success. This was my first one. The Rio was very, very, very expensive. I remember I bought it in a travel I did in California, and was something like more or less 1,000 euro for things like this. Then came Apple. You know, the characteristic of Apple is that they have never done anything new. They've only to take things from done for somebody else, but they have done in a beautiful way. They have designed them. This is important for us designers because gives the idea of the great importance of good design. And simplicity. This is beautiful, but there's a lot of mechanics around that. This is beautiful because of simplicity. You have only a screen. It's like the telephone. It's only a screen. You don't have anything else. In Apple, the evolution was this. But this evolution of giving an appearance, a nice simplicity to object came not only for electronic. This is something you can have to make coffee and to make toast. This is even more trivial. You know, this is salt and pepper. That is for tea. This is for the water cruise. You know, but is if you think about the normal one are horrible. This is nice. This gives emotion. You got the idea of what is emotion. To understand emotion, we must think about brain, because emotion is in our brain. And so we must learn something about psychology. That is the science that studies how brain works. Psychology, in the Palo Alto School, has elaborated this idea of Maslow's hierarchy needs. You already seen this? It's a very common thing. You know, it's the needs, the hierarchy of needs of person. The needs come from physiological needs. I need to eat, I need to drink, I need to have sex, something very basic. Then I need to be safe. Is the most important thing. Is I'm here. We are here very relaxed because we know we are safe. It happens that something horrible happens even in university, but it's very unlikely that somebody comes with a gun here and shoots. Then love and belongings. Then self-esteem. We need to esteem ourselves. And then self-actualization. So have success in doing things. In design, has been done a parallel. We start from functional. If I go to my PC, I need to buy a ticket for the train. I must have that function. So this is the beginning of everything. I can make a fantastic website for trains, but if it's impossible to buy a ticket, it's bullshit. Then reliable. I must be safe that I put my money inside and I have back a travel. Then usable. And that's where we have worked a lot in this semester. But on top of all, there is pleasurable. Pleasurable is a lot of time the missing part, because programmers and designers, sometimes they don't feel is important. But it is, because it makes the difference. And in the internet, in most of cases, fidelity is a click away. So you go to Amazon because it's all of this and it's also pleasurable. Otherwise, you go to another place to buy your things. To understand the problem, we must understand how our brain works from the point of view of emotions. And the interesting thing that came out is that in our brain, we have basically three different brains, work in three different ways, all together in parallel, and some of these things are not conscious. If tonight you go out for a drink and you meet a new friend, for some reason, or you like or you don't like, it's immediate. When you see a person, say, oh, that's a nice person. No, I don't like this person. Actually, if I ask you why, in most of the time you are unable to say why. But in your brain, there are the reason of you liking or not the person. So, this is the visceral part. Is the part of your brain you have difficult to control, and is very basic. You like or dislike. It's like a food. When you eat something, sometimes you like, sometimes not, sometimes it's so and so. Then there is the behavioral, that is how do you behave, and then there is the reflective. You begin thinking about things, and each one of these can control the one that is like. Now we will see one by one these different things. Here is, as usual, I put a definition. You can have a look. We don't read all of them. We will see it later, but so you have a fixed point. But first of all, we must understand that the importance of emotion is not only because it's emotionally well, you feel good, but emotion interfere with all the other behavior. Would you do this? If I ask you, yes, you don't have any problem doing this. I'm very doubtful you will do this. It's exactly the same thing, which is the big difference. Here, there is no emotion. If you fell down, nothing happens. Here, there is a big emotion, because if you fell down, is a problem. The big emotion here is fear. You got the idea? There is a syndrome that makes people behave totally without emotion. It's a disease, it's called alexithymia. They're difficult in thinking. If you do not have emotion, it becomes very difficult to take decision. I've done a lot of work about this, and emotion and decision, they go together. This is a very nice book. As usually, when I show you a book, I have read, of course, it, and I think it's important. I strongly suggest you to read this book. Emotion can help us. If I ask you to go inside this labyrinth, you begin working like this, then emotionally, you can find another solution. Because I've not told you to go from here to here inside. I just told you to here, from here inside. What you got for granted was inside, is inside. Speaking about this, let's call it lateral thinking. So find suggestion. I don't know if you know this exercise. I prepare. One. Are you able to connect all this in 1, 2, 3, 4, with 4 straight lines, without detaching the pen from the paper? You try? Anybody? Maybe you have seen already because it's a very common. No? For instance, if I do like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, this is out. 1, 2, 3, 4, this is out. So I cannot connect in 4. You have any solution? If you have not seen already it. Solution is very simple. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. But where is the trick? Is that when I draw the box, you think, but I have not told it, to stay into the box. To connect with 4 lines, you must go outside. So things outside the box. This is, for a lot of things in life, a very important thing. Thinking out of the box. You got it? De Bono is a guy that has studied a lot in phenomena. This is a fantastic book. This is a book that you can read in 3 hours, but it's very, 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 very nice. Sometimes beauty does not go together with functionality. You know these things? Compass, old compass. We use this with China ink. If you are an engineer, you understand this. We have spent, but you are very young. I have spent hours of my time with the China doing the cards. Now we don't need that. We have this that are pens that are able to write the same way in a more difficult way. So, which is the difference? This is something beautiful. This is something trivial. This is very difficult to use. This is very easy to use. So, the 3 levels of our brain: visual, behavioral, and reflective. To explain this in a snapshot, let's speak about mineral water. I think you know this kind of mineral water. It's the plastic bottle I can go to buy here. That's plastic, maybe somebody else has a plastic bottle of mineral water. This is a special one. Perrier is a very fancy mineral water. This is extremely special one. You have seen this in your life? This is a mineral water that costs something like €6, a liter. This costs 0.33. This costs 2.5, something like that. Which are the difference here? The driver says this is intellectually driven. You know that this water is very good for your health. It's like San Pellegrino in Italy, for instance. This is expectation driver. I am thirsty. I go there, I put a coin, and I get my water. Then this is perceptually driven. I have been exposed to important people using that water, and it became a fashion water. Then, focus on brand image, usability, design. This is the bottle here. If you buy one of these bottles, you will never throw away. I have one in my house. Examples and the price. So this is the most emotionally driven. You know, if you don't move people emotionally, nobody will spend €6 for a plain water. €6, you go to McDonald's, you have a good sandwich Coke and maybe potatoes. I don't remember, but more or less we are like that. So, visceral, behavioral, and reflective, all together make things delightful. So we must work on all of them. Tynant is the water that it costs 3 times the gasoline. Design become the product, is the wow effect, you know? You offer something and you put that, oh, wow. And it's sort of candy for the eyes. You know, it's like this. It's exactly the same. You remember we spoke about this juicer. This juicer is extremely expensive. It works very badly, but people like to have it. Ciao, Paolo. The pulsion, when you emotionally touch people, is... Tu ti sei portato i cioccolatini?
Panettone siciliano.
Grazie, puoi aprirlo già subito. No. Say, the emotion is, I want it. You know, this is the line that was in Milano when this came out. Is the 15 Pro Max. You know, I am not like that. I have ordered in the internet and waited maybe 2 months to have it. But people was there at 2 o'clock in the night to have it emotionally. They wanted to have it. They wanted to. These are the type of things that are emotionally driven. Watch like that. AirPods. AirPods is an incredible thing. And heard that cost a lot of money. And people want it. But this is... Non bene. You know this watch? This is an interesting story. You know, Gerard Genta is a very important producer of watch, and has done this watch that is very particular because it's from 0 to 60 and goes tak, 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 tak. And here is the time. So now it's 1:26. Very fancy thing. The Sultan of Brunei, the most rich person in the world, went there and wanted to give, say, a present for the child. Was 8 years old. And they prepared this watch with Mickey Mouse. You know, this watch cost €1 million. Imagine, €1 million. People have strange idea of emotion. A lot of people, and I'm sure Paolo would like this. A lot of people with emotion, we were very different. That yes, beautiful. I have always, since I have the Apple is the best one. But the interesting thing is that there is nothing of, say, reasonable in that. Because you can say, I buy it because it's beautiful. Okay, you like it, dislike, but that's your problem. People like it because it's perpetual. Perpetual means that mechanically they were able to build a watch that will have leap years forever. But who cares about perpetual? The normal one is 100 years. And there is a very scarce possibility that any one of us will be here 100 years from now to say, oh, the leap is working very well. But this is emotion. Few years ago, Apple decided to put colors in their systems. Now it's different. They went back to 1 color or 2 colors. But that time, and you know, was an incredible boost in selling. That time.
By the way, this was the most
beautiful.
Yes, but the most useless personal computer I ever owned. It was terrible. Never worked. Remember the CD-ROM? Went in and never came back out. Never. So, terrible.
What was a boost?
Terrible computer.
But I remember that time I was in the jury of an important prize, small prize, industrial design in Italy, president of the jury for 35 years. And I remember they wanted to give a prize to them, and I asked them, okay, which is new here? Nothing. I don't like to spend a lot of money for something that looks like a candy. It's not interesting. If we speak about visual, we must consider it is quite stable. It changes, but it changes with time. And a lot of the visual sensation is common to the people in the same period. You know this painting? This is Maya Desnuda, Goya. Is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful painting. But you know, if you look at this lady, I hope you don't consider it politically incorrect if I speak about big and small ladies, but this is part of the idea. This lady today will not be considered a beautiful lady because it's simply too big. It's very, say, rich. Today, people prefer this kind of ladies. This is Twiggy. Twiggy was the exact opposite. But this is also, say, it changed from time to another. Marilyn Monroe was different from the lady we find beautiful now. And this changes from place to place. In Arabic country, ladies a little more fat are preferred to very slim one. This is the visual part of our brain. Of course, we can say the same thing about men, but being a man, for me, is more easy to understand it speaking about it. You remember we spoke about this? In the Lord of Rings, think and losse. You remember? Think and losse are two words. This is called Sindarin, is the non-existent language that has been developed. Think and losse, one thing means metal, the other thing means snow. If you get 1,000 people, most of the people will say that think is metal and losse is snow. Nobody knows why, but it's something inside our brain. Maybe that metal makes tick, tick, tick. Losse is more candid and soft think like snow. Then, we spoke about visual, behavioral. So we go a little higher. The elements of behavioral design is functionality. When I buy a watch looking at, from my behavioral point of view, I check the function. And so the iWatch, the Apple Watch, has a lot more function than the most beautiful mechanical watch. Easiness of understanding, easiness of use, and good physical sensation. You know, sometimes this happens with a computer. If you take in your hand a Mac computer and another IBM computer, say, I don't know why, but the Apple is designed better. You feel better touching it. So, function. This guy is Akio Morita. Akio Morita was the founder of Sony. No? That's a very important person. Sony, he was a golfer. And one day he went to the laboratory of Sony. You know, it's nice to have a laboratory like that at your disposal. And says, I would like a lot to listen music while I play golf. They worked and they built up the Walkman. Was the first cassette. Now is incredible. The cassette now is electronic. That was possible to put in your. I had one of that. Was fantastic. And the original portable cassette. And this was how it was presented in the newspapers. Here we are at the maximum of functionality. When you sell something of this, you don't sell a piece of hardware, you sell music. No? Music wherever. Also in watch, you have this kind of approach. For instance, in 1932, this is the Omega Marine, is the first watch was capable to go underwater because people was going underwater and they needed, so it's not very nice. I like it, but it's less nicer than the other one. It's not gold, it's carbon steel, but you can swim, you can go. You know that I learned that the Apple Watch, when you put in the water, comes out, say, you are 20 centimeters underwater. They say that goes until 35 meters, but they've not tried. I don't think we will never try. One way of making people feel functionality is affordance. You remember we spoke about affordance? Affordance is when something tells you with its design what it does. This is a fantastic case of application of affordance. You know the tomato ketchup, if you put like this in the refrigerator, and then you try to put in your hamburger. I grew up in the States for part of my life, so they have this kind of ideas. You do like that, you begin doing like this, and when it comes down, it goes everywhere. If you put in the refrigerator upside down, it works. Take out and works. What they have done, instead of writing here, keep it upside down, they put the label upside down. So immediately looking at it, you naturally put in that way. In this kind of design, you have pleasurable. We spoke about putting your hands over a computer, by putting your lips over a cup. This is a cup that was very, say, it got a lot of premium about because they worked not in the way you look at the cup, the way you feel when you put in your mouth. And this is, it's called my kappa, I have it, of course. You know the different colors? When you ask to a person, do you want some milk in your coffee? If some of the family says, yes, I want number 2. And so you put the exact number, quantity of water, of milk in the coffee. Reflective, we are going. Reflective is sensible to culture. Do you know this Rodin statue? Where is this Rodin statue? Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Huh? Where? No. There is in Paris, but there's another one. This is the one that is in front of Stanford University. But they are very similar. But because I've been there. Do you know this kind of, this mouse? This is a fantastic mouse. It's beautiful because it puts together mouse and touch dashboard, how do you call it? Not touch screen, touch track, not trackball, it's touch, it's the sensitive, the source was the sensitive. Like the, yeah, trackpad, yeah. This is very, you must think about. At the beginning, you don't understand how it works. If you don't go to read something, you get lost because it moves continuously. But once you understand, it's fantastic. You know, this kind of fantastic thing, when they are complex, they are like food. There are some kind of food that people or like or dislike. There is nobody that is somehow okay with sushi. Or you love sushi or you don't love sushi. But there are also places like that. If you travel around the world, there are places, I speak a lot about India because I love India. I feel home in India. A lot of people feel very, disturbed about because it's a total other way of living, is the attitude toward the world. But once you like, when you immerse yourself, speaking about watch, these are examples of very watch connected to this idea of thinking about function. Map, pressure, golf, and speed. So if you are a golfer, you will like that. If you like car, you will like this. The non plus ultra of this is this one. I have the ultra, and it has a lot of function. So I must confess, from the mechanical point of view, the vision point of view, I don't say that I like a lot this, because there is nothing to like in a little screen. But then there are the functions inside. So my brain won the idea of functionality. Another important thing we must consider and follow is, you remember in the Maslow pyramid, esteem. What is self-esteem? Is the way you feel you are good. Do you know these kind of things? Have you ever heard about EatKit? EatKit was a company that made a lot of money in an incredible way. Because if you wanted a television or a radio or anything, EatKit was selling you the pieces to build it. But the interesting thing is that the EatKit, so the pieces, and needed hours to build, was more expensive than the television itself. This is crazy, because I would understand that it's less expensive, I buy, I work, and I do it. People liked the idea to have the possibility of switching up a television in their house and said, I did that. I was so good that I was able to do that. This self-esteem mechanism was used a lot by this lady, this a non-existing lady. She was invented by marketing, but Betty Crocker is very common, and if you look even in the Italian supermarket, you find these kind of things. Is a prepared mix for making cookies. I do quite a lot, the brownies. Very, very, very good. What do? You put just the water inside, maybe some milk sometime. You put in the oven and they are ready. And was working, but not so much. Then the marketing had an idea. Instead of putting the dried milk and the dried eggs, they asked to the people at least to put the eggs inside. But it's totally useless, because dried eggs in cookies is the same. The sales jumped because people were able to go in the table and they say, I did this. It's me that I did this. If you are interested, you must be interested in this, I suggest you these books. Especially this one is fantastic. I'm really reading, and that is another very nice book. So for this year, or this semester, that's all, folk. And I just wanted to leave you with a final message. By the way, then Paolo will show us some reader. C'è vedere il lettore?
No, non sono riuscito a installare sul Mac.
Paolo will not show us the reader. Then we make a stop, quarter of an hour, and then if you need some help with the job you're doing, we are here. If anybody of you needs help with the thesis, provided it has something to do with usability and design, because sometimes come to us people make service design with a very fancy, but all related to psychology. We follow thesis when we know what we are doing, just drop us an email. It would be a pleasure to discuss with you. This last idea is what's called, you know, in the States, they say, my 2 cents. My 2 cents is what I put on the table. And my 2 cents is the design seen by an ergonomist is a dynamic equilibrium and is very important. What means dynamic? Means that it's not stable. Means that depends on who is looking at the website. Depends on the situation. You remember we spoke about checking an airfly home, the hours, the night, and do it from the taxi going to the airport because you are late. We must take in account this dynamic. Strongly depending in actors, personas, and situation, taxi house, where the final result is very different from the sum of different elements. And this is the most difficult thing to understand. Sometimes designers are very frustrated because they think they have done a little piece of the page beautiful. You know, me and Paolo, we have drawn a lot of pages together. Sometimes it was like that. Oh, this is fantastic. We have found the solution for this. Then make the prototype, look at them all together, say it's bullshit. We must change it because one thing is something separated, alone, and the other thing is together. Where we can learn a lot is from cooking. You know what is this? This is a steak. You know, when you cook a steak, you can do with the same exact products, beautiful things and horrible things. But it's also very, very difficult to understand what goes well together. Do you know this? You've never been to the US? Nobody? People go to the US, it's a nice place. This is the clam chowder. Clam chowder are 2 types. One is clam chowder from New York, it is red. The clam chowder from Boston is white, and it's fantastic, fantastic. When you look at the recipe, you will be very impressed because you start from clams, because it's a clam chowder. Then normally you put in a bowl of bread. You use garlic and milk, but there is a lot of bacon. And if you think about it, it's incredible. Nobody will say that bacon is good with clams, but it is. So try it, test it when you design something, and even something looks strange together, use it. Now it's all. Thank you very much.
Questa qui non me l'hai mandata?
Sì, sì, tutte e due sono mandate.
No, ho detto solo accessibilità.
Ah, no, io l'ho messo tutte e due.
Il corso sul quello io non so questa qui. Riesci a girarmela?
No, però sono state due.
Sì. Riesci a mandarmela?
Te la mando stasera. Okay.
Did you get the email about the exam? Yes. Everything clear? Questions?
It's fantastic because we repeat every year, at least 10 times.